This lesson is triangle congruence by angle side angle and angle angle side. The goal is to prove triangles are congruent using the angle side angle and the angle angle side postulates. The standard is similarity, right triangles, and trig number 5. What you should understand by the end of the lesson is that you can prove that two triangles are congruent without having to show that all corresponding parts are congruent. In this lesson, you will prove triangles are congruent by using one pair of corresponding sides and two pairs of corresponding angles. In the last lesson, you used just the opposite. You used one pair of corresponding angles and two pairs of corresponding sides. We're going to look first at the angle side angle postulate. It states that if two angles and the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the included side of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So in these two triangles, we have angle A and angle C, angle D and angle F. And if you notice, between those two angles, they have a congruent side. So these two triangles would be congruent by using the angle side angle postulate. The other postulate is the angle angle side theorem, and it states that if two angles and a non-included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the corresponding non-included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So we have angle A and angle B, and across from the two angles is a non-included side. They're congruent to angle D and angle E, and there's the non-included side. We're asked which two triangles are congruent by angle side angle. Remember, angle side angle is two angles and an included side. And I have two angles and an included side here, two angles and an included side here. So my triangles that are congruent are triangle UVS and triangle EON. Your first practice problem is to decide which two triangles are congruent by using the angle side angle postulate. This question asks which two triangles are congruent by the angle angle side theorem. So we're looking for two angles and a non-included side, and if you'll notice, they all have two angles and a non-included side. However, this triangle and this triangle have only one tick mark, where this one has two. So our congruent triangles are triangle ECD and triangle UTV. Practice problem 2 asks which two triangles are congruent by the angle angle side theorem, and to complete the congruent statement. So before you start your assignment, where are you on the scale after watching the video? Hopefully you are, I got this, but if you are at I don't get this, watch the video again, and hopefully some of you are going to be so good you could teach this. It looks like somewhere out there there's a place called goodbye.